In the heart of Oak Creek, Colorado, lived Miguel, a man whose name was synonymous with soccer. Not just any soccer, but the kind that ignited passion in young hearts and built a community. For over a decade, Miguel had poured his heart and soul into coaching the Oak Creek Eagles, transforming them from a ragtag group of kids into a team to be reckoned with. He wasn't just a coach. He was a mentor, a father figure, and a friend. He knew each player's strengths and weaknesses, their dreams and fears. He pushed them to be their best, not just on the field, but in life. He taught them about teamwork, discipline, and the importance of never giving up. His infectious enthusiasm and genuine care for his players made him a beloved figure in Oak Creek. He was the kind of guy who remembered everyone's name, always had a smile on his face, and was willing to lend a helping hand. People felt welcome around him. Oak Creek wasn't just a place on a map, it was a family. Nestled in the Rocky Mountains, it was a town where everyone knew everyone, where potlucks were a regular occurrence, and where helping your neighbor was simply a way of life. The local school was the heart of the town, and the soccer field was its playground. Coach Miguel's impact rippled through every corner of Oak Creek. When a team needed new uniforms, the town held a bake sale. When a player was struggling in school, Miguel organized tutoring sessions. When someone was down on their luck, the community rallied to offer support. They celebrated victories together, mourned losses together, and stood shoulder to shoulder through thick and thin. Coach Miguel was more than just their soccer coach. He was one of their own. His presence knit them even closer because he was always there for them. Miguel wasn't just a friendly face. He was a legal resident of the United States. For over 15 years, he had called Oak Creek home, having arrived from Mexico with dreams of a better life. He'd followed all the rules, dotted every I, and crossed every T. He paid his taxes, volunteered his time, and contributed to the community in countless ways. He held a valid green card, a symbol of his legal status and his commitment to building a life in America. He worked hard at the local lumber mill, never complaining about the long hours or the tough conditions. He always said he was grateful for the opportunity to work and provide for his family. Beyond his coaching, Miguel was active in the church, helped organize town cleanup days, and even volunteered as a translator for Spanish-speaking families at the local clinic. He was a model resident, an example of someone who embraced the American dream and gave back to his community. Miguel's pride and joy was his son, David. David was the embodiment of the American dream, a bright, ambitious young man who had excelled in school and earned a spot at West Point. He'd always looked up to his father, admiring his work ethic and his unwavering optimism. Now, David was a soldier, bravely serving his country overseas. He was deployed in a faraway land, facing dangers most people couldn't imagine. Every day, Miguel worried about his son's safety, praying for his safe return. They spoke when they could, their conversations filled with love and support. David's decision to join the Army had been a source of immense pride for Miguel. He saw it as David's way of giving back to the country that had given them so much. He never imagined that his son's service would become entangled in his own fight to stay in the place they both called home. The day started like any other. Miguel woke up early, made coffee, and prepared for his day at the lumber mill. He was looking forward to soccer practice that afternoon, eager to work with his team on their passing skills. But as he stepped outside, two unmarked cars blocked his driveway. Men in plain clothes approached him, identifying themselves as ICE agents. They told him they had a warrant for his arrest, based on an anonymous tip questioning his legal status. Miguel was stunned. He showed them his green card, but they were unmoved. They handcuffed him, ignoring his protests that there must be some mistake. His neighbors watched in disbelief as they led him away, the familiar quiet of Oak Creek shattered by the harsh reality of the arrest. The anonymous tip was a knife in the heart of the community. The news of Miguel's arrest spread through Oak Creek like wildfire. Disbelief quickly turned to anger and a fierce determination to help. People couldn't understand how this could happen to someone who had given so much to their community. Parents whose children Miguel had coached organized phone calls and meetings. The players themselves, heartbroken and confused, started a petition demanding his release. The local church held a prayer vigil, filling the small sanctuary with heartfelt pleas for Miguel's safe return. The town's mayor, normally a reserved man, publicly condemned the arrest, vowing to do everything in his power to bring Miguel home. Even people who barely knew Miguel felt compelled to act, recognizing the injustice of the situation. The community's heart was breaking. They had to act, and quickly. Deportation was a frightening word. It meant being forced to leave the only home Miguel had known for 15 years, separated from his friends, his community, and potentially his son. The legal process was complex and intimidating, filled with paperwork and court hearings. The family hired a lawyer, Ms. Evans, a sharp and compassionate woman who understood the stakes. She immediately began working to gather evidence to prove Miguel's legal status and his contributions to the community. She explained to the family that they would need to fight every step of the way. Ms. Evans filed motions to halt the deportation proceedings, arguing that Miguel's arrest was based on false information and that his long-standing residency and his son's military service should be taken into consideration. The fight was just beginning, and the odds seemed stacked against them. But the community of Oak Creek was ready to stand by Miguel's side. The town square transformed into a sea of signs and voices. Keep Coach Miguel home. He's one of us. Support our troops' families. The people of Oak Creek marched, chanted, and made their voices heard. Children held handmade signs with drawings of soccer balls and hearts. Teenagers organized social media campaigns, spreading the word and gathering support from around the country. Elderly residents sat in lawn chairs, offering water and encouragement to the marchers. The protest was peaceful but powerful, a testament to the community's unwavering support for Miguel. News cameras captured the scene, broadcasting the story of Oak Creek's fight to a national audience. The town was united, determined to show the world that Miguel belonged with them. Their signs were a testament to the love they felt for their coach. He's not just a coach. He's family, said Sarah, a mother whose 2 children had been coached by Miguel. He taught them about respect, responsibility, and the importance of giving back. Coach Miguel believed in me when no one else did, said Carlos, a former player who had gone on to college on a soccer scholarship. He helped me become the person I am today. Miguel's wife, Elena, spoke with quiet strength, her voice filled with emotion. My husband is a good man, a loving father, and a valuable member of this community. He doesn't deserve this. Even David, speaking from overseas, pleaded for his father's release. My father has always supported me, and now I need to support him. Separating him from his family and his community would be a terrible injustice. Their words echoed the sentiment of the entire town. He was a good man. The local news story quickly spread, picked up by national media outlets. Suddenly, Miguel's case was being discussed on television, radio, and online. Pundits debated the complexities of immigration law, the role of ICE, and the human cost of deportation. Some people expressed support for Miguel, praising his contributions to the community and questioning the motives behind his arrest. Others defended ICE, arguing that they were simply enforcing the law. The case became a lightning rod for the broader debate about immigration policy in the United States. It raised questions about fairness, justice, and the treatment of immigrants who had built lives and families in the country. The debate was fierce, passionate, and deeply divisive. The whole country was watching. Ms. Evans argued that Miguel's green card was valid and that the anonymous tip was baseless. She presented evidence of his 15 years of residency, his employment history, and his extensive volunteer work. She emphasized that deporting Miguel would not only separate him from his family and community, but also inflict emotional distress on his son, David, who was actively serving in the army. She argued that it was unconscionable to punish a father for his son's patriotism. She also pointed out inconsistencies in ICE's procedures, suggesting that Miguel had been unfairly targeted. Ms. Evans fought tirelessly, using every legal tool at her disposal to challenge the deportation order and keep Miguel in the United States. The law was on their side, but would justice prevail? The uncertainty weighed heavily on Miguel's family. Elena struggled to sleep, haunted by the fear of losing her husband. She spent hours on the phone with Ms. Evans, trying to understand the legal complexities and clinging to any glimmer of hope. David, thousands of miles away, felt helpless. He worried constantly about his father's well-being and the stress his mother was under. He tried to focus on his mission, but his thoughts kept drifting back to Oak Creek. He wrote letters to government officials, pleading for his father's release. He explained how much his father meant to him and how devastating it would be to lose him. The emotional toll of the situation was immense, adding another layer of hardship to his already challenging deployment. He felt guilty that he couldn't be there to support them. ICE officials defended their actions, stating that they were simply following the law and enforcing immigration policies. They explained that they had received an anonymous tip questioning Miguel's legal status and were obligated to investigate. They emphasized that every case was reviewed individually and that they took into consideration factors such as family ties and community contributions. However, they also maintained that they had a responsibility to uphold the law, regardless of public opinion. They acknowledged David's military service, but argued that it did not automatically exempt his father from deportation. They insisted that their actions were not meant to be punitive, but rather to ensure compliance with immigration regulations. Their words did little to quell the growing outrage. The community felt betrayed. The courtroom was packed. Every seat was filled with supporters, their faces etched with hope and anxiety. Ms. Evans presented her final arguments, passionately defending Miguel and appealing to the judge's sense of justice. The IC lawyer reiterated their position, emphasizing the importance of upholding immigration laws and the validity of their procedures. The judge listened intently, his expression unreadable. After hours of testimony and legal arguments, the judge announced that he would take the case under advisement and issue a ruling in the coming days. The wait was agonizing. The fate of Miguel and the heart of Oak Creek hung in the balance. The tension in the courtroom was palpable. Every breath held, every prayer whispered. The judge held their future in his hands. Days turned into an eternity. Finally, the word came. The judge was ready to deliver his verdict. The town held its breath. In a packed courtroom, the judge spoke, his voice echoing through the silent space. He acknowledged the complexities of the case, the conflicting arguments, and the immense pressure he faced. He stated that while he respected the need to enforce immigration laws, he could not ignore the compelling evidence of Miguel's positive contributions to the community and the sacrifices made by his son, David. He ruled that Miguel would be allowed to stay in the United States. A collective gasp filled the room, followed by tears, cheers, and heartfelt embraces. Justice had prevailed. The relief was overwhelming. Oak Creek erupted in celebration. The town square, once a site of protest, transformed into a joyful party. People danced, sang, and cheered. The soccer team hoisted Coach Miguel onto their shoulders, chanting his name. David, watching the news from overseas, wept with relief. He called his mother, his voice choked with emotion. "He's staying, Mom. He's really staying." The victory was not just for Miguel. It was for the entire community, a testament to their unwavering support and their belief in justice. It was a reminder that even in the face of adversity, unity and compassion could prevail. The town had shown the world what it meant to stand by one of their own. They were a true family. The near loss taught Oak Creek a valuable lesson. Never take anything for granted. The town became even more united, more compassionate, and more determined to stand up for what was right. They established a legal defense fund to help other immigrants in similar situations. They organized community events to celebrate diversity and promote understanding. They vowed to never let fear or prejudice divide them again. The experience also strengthened their commitment to supporting their troops and their families. They sent care packages to David and wrote letters to other soldiers, expressing their gratitude for their service. Oak Creek emerged from the ordeal stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. The town now stood as a beacon of hope. The debate about immigration continued across the nation, fueled by Miguel's case. Lawmakers introduced new legislation aimed at protecting long-term residents and military families from deportation. Advocacy groups used Miguel's story to raise awareness about the human cost of immigration policies and to push for comprehensive reform. People began to see immigrants not just as statistics, but as individuals with families, dreams, and valuable contributions to make. While the debate remained complex and contentious, Miguel's story had helped to humanize the issue and to spark a national conversation about fairness, justice, and the meaning of the American dream. His story became a symbol of hope. The fight was far from over. Oak Creek continued to embrace its identity as a welcoming and inclusive community. The Legal Defense Fund thrived, providing assistance to numerous families facing similar challenges. The town's annual diversity festival grew bigger each year, attracting visitors from across the state. The Oak Creek Eagles, inspired by their coach's resilience, went on to win the state championship. David returned home a hero, honored by the town for his service and sacrifice. Years later, Miguel remained a pillar of the community, coaching soccer, volunteering his time, and spreading his message of hope and unity. Oak Creek had not only saved a beloved coach, but had also reaffirmed its commitment to its values. Their actions resonated far beyond their small town. They became an example for others. Miguel's story serves as a powerful reminder that families are at the heart of every community and that separating them comes at a profound human cost. It highlights the importance of due process, fairness, and compassion in immigration policies. It underscores the vital contributions that immigrants make to American society, enriching communities and strengthening the nation. And it celebrates the courage and sacrifice of military families, who deserve our unwavering support and gratitude. Ultimately, Miguel's story is a testament to the enduring power of hope, unity, and the unwavering belief in the promise of the American dream. It shows us that even in the face of adversity, we can choose to stand together and build a more just and compassionate world. He and David showed the true meaning of commitment. And so, the story of Coach Miguel and the town of Oak Creek reminds us that our communities are only as strong as the bonds that unite us. It challenges us to look beyond labels and stereotypes and to see the humanity in every person. It calls on us to remember that families are the foundation of our society and that tearing them apart inflicts lasting wounds, not just on individuals, but on entire communities. It compels us to advocate for immigration policies that are rooted in compassion, fairness, and respect for human dignity. Let Miguel's story inspire us to build a world where everyone is valued, everyone is welcome, and everyone has the opportunity to pursue their dreams, contributing their unique talents and gifts to the tapestry of our shared humanity. Let's make sure to treat each other fairly.